All right, well, if you're listening to this, welcome to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Football. Logan, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, my friend. How are you doing?
Well, since we last recorded, we recorded right before. All right, well, if you're listening to this, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but where I was at.
This is a whole new episode. Welcome to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Football.
True.
Great divisional round this weekend, I must say.
Yeah, well, before we get into that, the last time we recorded, it was right before my Arizona Cardinals played their playoff game, and they got beat. And it wasn't even funny. At one point in the game, Odell Beckham Jr. had more passing yards than Kyler Murray. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury just got out coached in every aspect of the game, and even I don't even have another comeback to say. I want to say something like that would just show how bad it was, but that's how bad it is. I'm at a loss of words on how bad my Arizona Cardinals did against the Rams. But fast forward to this past weekend, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl.
First off, I'm so excited for Matt Stafford. You know, playing your whole career with the Lions, and then wonderful.
Yeah. I'm happy for him too. I honestly thought when the Rams made that move, I was like, oh, they for sure have a chance to go to the Super Bowl or deep in the playoffs with him because he's just better than Goff. But the thing is, they do make mistakes. He makes mistakes, and if the 49ers, with like a minute 30 left, if they catch that interception, game's over. 49ers win. 49ers are in the Super Bowl. But whoever it was, I don't remember what player it was, they dropped the ball. The Rams got another chance. They went down and scored. And then Jimmy G threw like an interception, or was it a fumble or something like that?
Oh no, I'm not a quarterback in the NFL. I'll never be a quarterback in the NFL, but man, he didn't look good at all that game.
Well, the problem with the 49ers is Kyle Shanahan cannot close out games. When he was the OC in Atlanta, they blew that Super Bowl lead. When he was the head coach in the Super Bowl for the 49ers, they blew that lead. And then in the NFC Championship, they blew that lead. Every time he's in a big game, he's winning, so he's a good coach, but he falls apart.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so we've been talking about this past weekend. But let's just jump to the previous week before the conference playoff weekend. How about we give some love to those kickers? My goodness. 3 games ended on game-winning kicks by the kickers. The Bengals upset the number 1 seeded Titans 19-16 to start off the weekend on Saturday. And then the 49ers go into Green Bay. And I want you to remember this, and everyone listening. I told you the 49ers are the team that could beat Green Bay. Of course, with my picks, I did pick Green Bay because I wanted to go the safe bet. I thought they were the best team, number 1 seed. Aaron Rodgers wanted to get another ring. But the 49ers, they won. The Packers it was weird in Green Bay in the playoffs, and they just did nothing, which was shocking. And then the next day, the Rams upset the Buccaneers, which the Rams are a good team, but for most of that game, it was a big lead. The Buccaneers played well at the end, and Tom Brady almost had another comeback win. but the Rams, they got the ball with like less than a minute or a minute 30 or something like that. I don't know what it was. But Matt Stafford, I think it was less than a minute. Matt Stafford just made some unbelievable throws and got into scoring position, and they kicked the field goal, and the Rams advanced. And like we just said, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl now. But the last game that weekend was the freaking shootout of the Chiefs and the Bills, Logan. Were you able to watch any part of that game?
I actually did watch a little bit of that game, and wow. First off, there's nothing more in that game Josh Allen could have done.
I know, dude. He did everything and more,
And
and
there
it
was a
came
record
down
set.
to a coin flip.
And a record was set. Gabriel Davis now has the most touchdowns by a wide receiver in the postseason history.
Yeah, that he had. Let's see, he was the first player in Super Bowl era with 200 plus receiving yards, 4 TDs in a playoff game. That's just insane. But can we also just talk about the fact that Patrick Mahomes, with 13 seconds left in the game, just freaking went down and scored and tied the game? I
Yeah.
mean, you just say it took 2 passes and they were in field goal range and kicked the field goal to tie it. And then again, like I just said, it came down to a coin flip. Chiefs got the ball. They went down the field and scored. Now, another interesting part is if we fast forward, so the Chiefs advanced, they beat the Bills. They ended up playing the Bengals because the Bengals upset the Titans in the conference championship. And the Bengals were able to come back and tie the game to take it to overtime. And guess who won this coin toss again? It was Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And as soon as that happened, I don't know if you saw the video, but Joe Burrow, whenever they announced that the Chiefs won the toss, he gave a little face like, "Oh no." And then Patrick Mahomes threw an interception. Joe Burrow gets the ball. They go down. They get in field goal range. And the Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. Now, I want you to think about this, Logan, before I get your thoughts with you being a Ravens fan. Before this year, so I don't know if you have ever watched any of Flimo Raps videos on YouTube. He's a great YouTuber. He breaks down football content and stuff. And he's a Bengals fan. And his whole life, the Bengals have never won a playoff game until this year. And they're going all the way to the freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's incredible. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, they're looking good. But that defense is the reason they're going to the Super Bowl right now. That
Yeah.
defense stopped the Chiefs, gave up 3 points the whole second half, and just destroyed them.
Yeah, and they had 2 interceptions off Patrick Mahomes. But the best part of this story with the Bengals is last free agency, they didn't go out and sign anyone big. They signed a lot of solid players that fit the system, and they came in and they played good. Like, and like buy the best offensive lineman or the best defensive lineman. They went out, they got guys that were cheaper, that fit the system, that are good players, and it's taken them to the Super Bowl. Not only that, but in the draft, they, of course, we talk about it all the time, but they got Jamar Chase. But let's talk about this 5th round draft pick they got. Evan McPherson, kicker, has broke. I would have to look at it. I don't remember what it is. He's kicked as a rookie the most field goals in playoff history, and made field goals at that. Because
Wow.
I don't think he's missed one yet. But and it's funny because the Bengals tweeted every time they win, they're like, "That's why you draft a kicker." So, man, the Bengals are a crazy story. but good for them. But as a Ravens fan, Logan, how do you feel right now?
I mean, I wish the Ravens were there, but good for them. I mean, now what? Last time you were even in the Super Bowl was the 60s, 70s. Haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. Like, good for them.
Yeah,
Does
I
it does
mean,
it hurt? Does it hurt? Yeah, we have to play them twice a year, but man, they deserve it.
it's the craziest story about all this is I would say 5 years ago, Joe Burrow was a backup at Ohio State. He transfers out after he loses the QB battle to Dwayne Haskins and transfers to LSU. In his first year in LSU, wasn't the greatest. I mean, he was all right, nothing spectacular. But the next year, his senior year, his fifth and finally, he just absolutely balls. They go undefeated, win the national championship. He gets the Heisman. He was a first overall draft pick. He goes to the Bengals, and then he tears his ACL his first year in the NFL. And everyone's just like, oh no, another QB ruin. And Joe Burrow comes back and freaking leads the Bengals to the Super Bowl. This is the first QB in 3 years to possibly win a national championship, win the Heisman, go first overall, and to possibly win a Super Bowl. I mean, and speaking of the Super Bowl, it's Joe Burrow versus Matt Stafford, which is the second time ever two first overall picks are going to meet in a Super Bowl. The first one being Peyton Manning versus Cam Newton when it was Broncos versus Panthers in like 2015 or whatever that was year it was. But man, I if we're going into our predictions for next weekend, and if we have any Cincinnati fans, I'm sorry I'm gonna say this. I just I think the Rams are a better team, but the Bengals are hot right now. They're playing well. So I don't know. It could go either way. And
I
remember, the last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl, they had an absolutely freaking miserable performance. Again, that was against Tom Brady and the Patriots, but they did not show up that year, and I thought the Rams were very good that year. But this is a different quarterback, of course. But my prediction, someone made a prediction. I was listening to a podcast. They think it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna come down to Matthew Stafford having to make a throw. Whether and the thing is, it's gonna come down to does he make that throw or does he make that mistake and lose the game? Like I said earlier, the 49ers should have won that game. They should have caught the interception and they should be in the Super Bowl right now. But they dropped it, and the Rams are the one in the Super Bowl.
yeah, I want to say I either way I'm happy he wins. Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford deserves a win once in his life. He deserves a Super Bowl. Matt Stafford deserves a Super Bowl more than anyone. But man, I want to say the Rams, but I feel like me saying the Rams, the Bengals are going to win. But I don't know, man. Joe Burrow did take down the Chiefs. And if that defense can shut down the Rams like they did the Chiefs, they'll be fine. So I'm gonna go Bengals.
Yeah, my only thing is you also got to remember is the Rams have Aaron freaking Donald, and I can't even imagine between him and Von Miller, man, they're gonna be ready to go. They got 2 weeks there, man. And the Bengals O line is not the greatest. I mean, if
No,
you
and
watched
you
any
also
of the
got
games
Leonard
this playoffs,
Floyd.
I mean, Joe Burrow has not had a clean pocket. He's constantly maneuvering around players, trying to get between people and then make throws. So I don't know. I think my gut just says the Rams, but I hope to God it's the Bengals. But on another point here, I mean, with both these teams, I would probably be fine with either team winning. I like Sean McVay. I like Matt Stafford. My only problem with the Rams is Stan Kroenke. Again, for any people that are listening that don't know Stan Kroenke, he's the Rams owner. They moved from St. Louis, which me and Logan are from around the St. Louis area. So we kind of grew up with the Rams. We weren't Rams fans, but like it was nice having, a team, an NFL team pretty much in the city that you live by. But he just, tanked for, 4 or 5 years and then finally just took the team away to LA. And but another craziest story about them moving to the LA area thing is they built a new stadium and the Rams are actually hosting the Super Bowl this year, which is the second time that I think, well, I don't know if it's the second time ever, but I know last year the Buccaneers went to the Super Bowl in their stadium too. So Tampa Bay hosted last year, LA is hosting this year, and the Rams made it to the Super Bowl. Now the Buccaneers were the first team ever to win a Super Bowl in their stadium, and the Rams have a chance to do it this year. It's pretty much a home game for them. So that's something else you have to remember. I mean, the Bengals have to travel to LA, which is weird for a Super Bowl, but it isn't.
But they also had to travel to Kansas City, where it's pretty hard to play in that stadium too.
Traveled to Nashville. I mean, they've been traveling.
Everywhere.
I don't know. Did they travel the first week to Las Vegas?
I don't think so.
I think the. Let me look real quick. I think no, Cincinnati was higher seed, so they were home that weekend. But yeah, they've been traveling the last couple of weeks, so there's a good chance that they can play well. And so but so let's get our predictions, Logan. I know we still have about a week and a half until the Super Bowl. Well, I guess you gave your prediction. You think the Cincinnati are you gonna lock that in?
I'm locking it in. The Cincinnati Bengals are gonna win.
The craziest part is the Cincinnati Bengals have never won a Super Bowl. And I saw this graphic and I tweeted it at my friend George. So my friend George from New York, he's a Titans fan. And me, of course, I am a Arizona Cardinals fan. And so I saw this graphic and it was talking about teams that have never won the Super Bowl. They had pictures of each team. But they said the Bengals have a chance to, break the spell and get out of that, graphic if they win. Now the funniest part was I wasn't even thinking about it, but I thought about the Titans because I saw the Titans logo, thought of George, and I was like, oh, the Titans lost that Super Bowl to the Rams in 1999 by like a few inches. Yep. And then I looked at the Arizona Cardinals team, and I thought about that catch that Santonio Holmes had. And literally caught the ball and just got his tiptoes into the grass. And that ended up winning the Steelers that Super Bowl.
Or what about the James Harrison pick?
What'd you say?
The James Harrison pick.
Well, that too, the 100-yard interception. But, man, I just thought about how both my and George's favorite teams were literally inches away from being Super Bowl champs. And they lost and could not get off that graphic. So,
did you see it happen again, though?
What'd you say?
We could see it happen again, though.
Yeah, I mean, this game could come down to literally inches. But so we'll see what happens. I am gonna lock in my pick is the Los Angeles Rams are gonna be Super Bowl champs. They've been spending all the draft picks, all that money. They gotta get it. If they don't get it, it'll be a failure for them.
The only thing the Rams got going for them right now is the Bengals rely heavily on their ground game. And the Rams have a really good run defense.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
And you got Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase.
That is true, and it's kind of it's gonna be a good game. I am interested to see what happens. So we'll see what happens. But before we talk about other topics here, there's been a couple tweets, and I just want to highlight this. But this was on January 19th. It was Sunday, the 49ers Cowboys game on CBS, and they also showed it on Nickelodeon for the younger kids. It was the most watched NFL wildcard game on any network in 7 years, averaging 41.4 million viewers. The audience peaked at 50.2 million for the game's wild ending, another massive number. I feel like there has been so many tweets this year about how the NFL is striving in an audience and viewership this year, but man, I am good for the NFL, man. They are, and the thing is, that weekend, I mean those the games are performing. I mean, like I said, the divisional weekend, 3 games came down to literally a time expiring as the kicker kicked the ball into to win it. So but going back to so I found this tweet, the Titans Bengals game. So of course the Bengals made it all the way to the Super Bowl, but in that game, people forget Joe Burrow took 5 sacks in the first half, and they still won. It was the most in any half of his NFL career. I mean, like I said, that line is not very good, but he keeps getting it done, man. Joe Burrow is a man among boys.
He is. Joe Burrow is looking really good.
Yeah. But here's another thing about the Titans. They've lost 3 straight home playoff games the last 3 years. They have all had home playoff games, and they've lost each time. And they didn't score more than 16 points in any of those games. Their last home playoff win was in 2002 season. So that's kind of sad that they're not performing in their home situations. So, yeah.
Yeah, they'll eventually get there though.
Yeah. But going back to the 49ers Packers game, it was funny because when the 49ers won, of course, the clip of Aaron Rodgers after he got drafted to the Packers, and they, asked the question how he felt that the 49ers passed on him, and he said, not at, what was it? He said, I don't feel as bad as the 49ers will, after he, since they didn't take him, if that makes sense. But Rodgers is now 0-4 against the 49ers in the playoffs. LOL. That's so funny because he said that on draft night, and then the 49ers just constantly beat him in the playoffs. Which, with how everything has happened, I bet the 49ers do wish they would have took Aaron Rodgers instead of Alex Smith. Because Aaron Rodgers does have a Super Bowl, and the 49ers have not won a Super Bowl since that draft. They have been they've been to one.
They've been the 2.
Who they put
the Ravens and the 49ers, and then the one with the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, that too, and they lost both of them. So yeah, I totally forgot about the Ravens one, which you, as you being a Ravens fan, you should have knew that, obviously.
Oh, so. I will never forget that one.
So, but since the Packers lost, what I want your prediction real quick, just quick prediction. What do you think Aaron Rodgers does? So you think Aaron Rodgers is gonna go to?
He's gonna go to the Broncos or the Bucks, because After 22 seasons in the NFL, Tom Brady has officially retired.
There's so much I wish I could say or want to say, but man, just let's give it a moment of silence. So let's give a quick 30 seconds. Man, that was the longest 30 seconds of my life.
But we will
before we as I said 30 seconds, I thought to myself, I should have said 15. But I made it. I'm sorry, listeners, that you had to sit through 30 seconds of nothing. But, oh, man. Tom Brady, man.
what a career. He's had technically 2 Hall of Fame careers in his life.
Exactly.
From like 2000 to 2010 and 2010 to 2020s. And what a dude.
Yeah, I mean.
And people, you can hate him all you want. You can hate the dude all you want, but we will never see another player like Tom Brady in our lifetime.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many. We could talk about accolades all we want. Oh, here, I found it. So Tom Brady's resume is unmatched. 7-time Super Bowl champion, which is more than any NFL team has won. He's won more Super Bowls than any NFL team. He was Super Bowl MVP for 5 of them. He's a 3-time NFL MVP, 15-time Pro Bowler, 5-time NFL passing touchdown leader, 4-time NFL passing yards leader, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, 3-time first team All Pro. What a run. And then let's not skip the fact that didn't Tom Brady throw for like 4,000 or 5,000 yards this year, like as a 44-year-old? And
Yeah.
probably like he said, he could probably still play until he's 50. But he just felt like he was losing too much of, spending time with his family and his kids. And
So Kyle, for
yes.
you, are you surprised that he retired?
Um,
Especially this way.
I am, because I thought Tom Brady at least had another year in him, especially with the year he had. I mean, he was unbelievable this year. I also thought he would go out on top. I thought he would at least come back for another year, see if he could win that Super Bowl. But I think his main goal with leaving New England 2 years ago, he just wanted to prove himself. He wanted to prove that it was him and not Bill Belichick. Because, this is year 2. Tom Brady has won more Super Bowls than Bill Belichick has won without Tom Brady. So he did it. He won the Super Bowl.
Good.
And then, that was it. I mean, what he wanted to do, he proved himself, showed everyone that he could go anywhere and win a Super Bowl. And,
And he did.
And that's it. And now I do think, I don't know. I know it's hard to take a year off, but I could see a scenario where Tom Brady just misses football too much. He comes out of retirement, maybe plays a year or 2 with another team. I don't think he would go back to the Bucs. And I don't know if he wouldn't go back to New England, especially with Mac Jones. So I could see a scenario. Maybe if the whole Trey Lance doesn't work out for San Francisco, maybe they bring Tom Brady in for a year or 2. But
or does he come and coach?
I don't know. I could possibly see that, but I don't know. I've never really heard any stories about Tom Brady being a great like coach, if that makes sense. Because I mean, I just
No
feel
one knows
like,
the game as much as that guy, though.
yeah, I mean, you do have a solid point there. I would say if he went into coaching, he would give it a good maybe 3 to 5 years. Because I mean, the whole reason he's retiring is he wants to spend more time with family, and it would just make no sense to retire and then go straight into coaching. So we'll see, but there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, we got other topics to talk about, but man, good for Aaron Rodgers. So
You mean Tom
for
Brady?
yeah, well, Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying Aaron Rodgers. I
Speaking of
feel
Tom
like,
Brady,
but I do feel like you know I could see Aaron Rodgers retiring this off season. And man, the last few years we lost Drew Brees, we lost Philip Rivers, he retired. Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, about what 4 years ago.
yeah, and
Um,
Big Ben also just
Big,
retired.
yep, that's what I was about to say. Big Ben has retired. And then Tom Brady, of course, and if Aaron Rodgers, man. But the NFL is in good hands with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
You
Lamar
know,
Jackson. He's an MVP. So yeah, but so what was your thoughts? So going back to what we just said with Big Ben retiring, what was your thoughts on
um,
that?
it's sad. My childhood's ending. Literally, all these players I've watched growing up are retiring, and it's crazy to think about. Um,
Yeah.
but again, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm supposed to hate Steelers. Big Ben had a good career. He'll be a Hall of Famer. First ballot, maybe. I don't know, man. It's hard to be a first ballot sometimes because just it's more of a popularity contest. It's
Well,
weird.
so before you finish your thought, speaking of first ballot, Tom Brady is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, easily,
Yeah,
easily.
yeah. But yeah, the thing is with all these QBs, I think I've liked. Oh, and we also forgot to mention Drew Brees. But I mean, Big Ben out of all these QBs, it's between him and Philip Rivers, which are the two QBs I probably like the least. I just never resonated. I never really enjoyed watching them play. I never wanted to. I never ever said to myself, "Man, I want to turn on the Steelers this weekend and watch Big Ben sling the ball or Philip Rivers." I mean, Philip Rivers was fun to watch in the trash talking business part of it because man, he would just run his mouth and it was be funny to watch that. But so I don't know if I'm really gonna miss him, especially the last like 3 years. He has not really played well. He's kind of like the anti Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady has taken such good care of his body. I mean, Tom Brady even said in his retirement announcement, his body could play for another 5 6 years if it wanted. But he doesn't want to miss too much more time with his family. But Big Ben was the opposite. He never took care of his body, and he really aged, especially this year. And of course, the Steelers were just dumb and they don't have no future. I mean, unless you want Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins starting all next year, which might be their plan to tank for a year, see who's the top of the next draft. Because you should have Bryce Young, Heisman winner this year. That'll be coming out next year. Caleb Williams, who just transferred to USC today. He followed Lincoln Riley from OU, which is Oklahoma, to Southern California, which is USC. He's gonna be a guy that will probably be a first round pick, and I'm sure there's other guys. I mean, depending how Spencer Rattler does in South Carolina.
I don't know, man. Spencer Rattler, I feel like is. I feel like he's done. I feel like he missed a shot.
Possibly, but if he does have, I mean, if he has a good year in South Carolina, he's still, I mean, just a year ago, he was projected to be a first round pick. So,
He is projected to be number 1 overall.
yeah. So, and he was supposed to be Heisman winner and all that. But, so there's a chance that he could jump up the board. And I'm sure there's probably other guys I'm not thinking of right now. There's many guys that could jump. Oh, CJ Stroud, Ohio State, he'll be coming out. I mean, there's a lot of good talent the next year. This year, not so much. But we will see. But something else I want to talk about. Can we talk about Cooper Kupp for a little bit? In 20 this season, he has 170 catches for 2,333 receiving yards and 20 receiving TDs. I mean, my goodness. Every game it seemed like he was having 200 yards or 150 or 180 yards. I mean, my goodness. Cooper Kupp he is unbelievable.
Yeah, he. What do you think? Top 3 receiver in the NFL? I'm gonna go top 3.
I would go top 3. I
I'm not
think
gonna. I think he's number 3. You still got DeAndre Hopkins. Devontae Adams is still up there. But man, this year he was just so good.
yeah, he was, and he's helping his team to go to the Super Bowl. But so a next topic I want to talk about was on January 25th. So before we get into the coaching carousel, we'll talk about that next. AB posted a photo of him in a Ravens uniform. What is your
Oh
thoughts on
my!
that?
No, he will not be a Raven. I can guarantee you that. John Harbaugh does not deal with that kind of stuff. He will not. No, no.
Yeah.
His career in the NFL is done. I guarantee it. Unless he somehow miraculously fixes himself in that short time.
Well, the I don't know. Well, according to AB, again, according to him, teams have called him since he got released from the Buccaneers. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Well, the Ravens better not be one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. The Ravens do need. I mean, Hollywood Brown
But
isn't bad.
we got Rashad Bateman, and he did really good when he played. He's a rookie. The
Yeah,
Ravens need to focus on their defense a little bit. Get a safety. Linebacker's not bad, but we need to focus on our line. Our line was awful this year.
yeah,
We got Mark Andrews. I mean, hell, throw it to Mark Andrews every play. It's probably fine. He'll
yeah.
get it.
So before we jump into, I don't know if he'll end up in Baltimore, but it seems like he does. He wants to play with Lamar Jackson, which it's just kind of like AB is that kind of guy that wants the ball. He wants receptions. He's the guy.
And
And
the
Tom
Ravens
Brady, for
are,
the most part, did that, but there was a lot of weapons around him.
but
So the
also the
good part is
Ravens are a run first team. He will not like it there.
exactly that was my thought. But I did say the same thing about Odell Beckham being not happy in LA with how they run their offense. And, it's kind of worked out for LA. So I don't know. Again, AB is a hothead. I don't know. There's so much you could say about him, but
AB is just, I don't know.
exactly. But another topic it's a quick one before we jump into the coaching carousel. But going back to that Buffalo Kansas City game, man, with a minute 54, so less than 2 minutes left, Buffalo had a 3-point lead, 29-26. Up to a minute 02, the Chiefs took the lead, 33-29. Then, with 13 seconds left, the Buffalo Bills took the lead, 36-33. And then as time expired, Kansas City tied it. They went into overtime. Kansas City went on to win that game. I just wanted to highlight that, just again how amazing that game was, back and forth. Twitter was wild, but man. So let's get into the coaching carousel.
I will
So,
let you talk about this.
well, the first one I wanted to talk about, and I want to get your thoughts on it. What was your thoughts on Sean Payton retiring, or at least stepping away?
I think once Drew Brees was gone, he was done.
Well, I don't know if it's exactly Drew Brees leaving. I think because he of course he's the one that signed. What's his face?
James
Who's
Winston?
the quarterback that's like a running?
Oh, Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. So this was the year Taysom Hill got a chance, but of course, Jameis Winston won the job in 5 games, and then he got hurt. And then after that, it was a crapshoot. Taysom Hill was hurt. He was out with COVID. You had Trevor Siemian was out with COVID, did not play well. And you even had Ian Book start a game. I mean, my goodness. Like, I can see why he stepped away. But I also do think, so, of course, I don't know if you watched that new Sean Payton movie that came out on Netflix, but his family is from Texas. And I think Mike McCarthy gets fired after next season. Sean Payton comes back and he coaches the Dallas Cowboys. So that's my prediction. I think he's going to take a year off and then he's going to go coach the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't know, man.
But the next hiring was the Packers hired offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. So he's leaving. Not only is their OC leaving for the Packers, but the Packers QB coach got hired as the offense coordinator for the Chicago Bears. So that offense, and on top of Devontae Adams being a free agent, I mean, I just don't see a scenario where the Aaron Rodgers plays another down in Green Bay.
If he doesn't retire, I think he goes to the Bucs. Or, not think about it, he could go to the Steelers too.
Wait, say that again. Who? Oh, Aaron Rodgers? Yeah.
I think I don't think he'll ever be in Green Bay again.
Yeah, I don't think he will be. I also could see him going to Tampa Bay. Though I don't know. See, I haven't seen many reports on how they think of Kyle Trask as their second-round draft pick this past year. But I could see a scenario where Aaron Rodgers goes to Tampa Bay, but we'll see. But the next hiring, Brian Daboll was hired as a Giants coach. I think that's a great hire. I think Brian Daboll is good, but the problem is they don't have a quarterback in this
Speaking
draft.
of that, though, Brian Flores is suing the NFL and the Giants.
Well, the Dolphins, and the whole NFL, like you said. So that came out today. He is suing because apparently before Brian Flores even was interviewed for the Giants job, the Giants already made their mind up that they were going to hire Brian Daboll. And Brian Flores learned this because Bill Belichick accidentally texted Brian Flores instead of Brian Daboll and congratulating him getting the job. And he just misread who he was texting. And then when he finally realized it, he apologized and said they were going to hire Daboll.
Yeah, what is the coincidence of that happening?
Yeah, I don't know. I read some things that said people thought maybe he did it on purpose, just to screw the Giants. I don't know. But also Brian Flores is also saying in his lawsuit that the Dolphins owner offered him $100,000 for every loss that he had the year that they were tanking. but he turned the money down. He also, the owner apparently set up a meet with an NFL QB that was on a roster about trying to get him to come to Miami, which is, you can't do that because he's under employment with another team.
Yeah.
He also alleges that when he interviewed for the Denver Broncos job in 2019, that John Elway showed up an hour late and was hung over, and they just was not a good interview process there. But but so I don't know what's gonna happen from that. The NFL is $1 billion business, but this is also an instance where like this is the type of thing that the NFL may have to just tell the Dolphins owner that he has to sell the team. But this is also just a bad look for the NFL. But man, I also think Brian Flores just lost his chance of getting another head coaching job.
Oh yeah, for sure. The dude, he's mad because he got fired, and he's mad that nothing's going his way to get a job, so he's gonna just sue everyone. He's
But
throwing a
I mean,
fit and throwing a
he's got
tantrum.
some good. If any of this is true, again, if all this is true or any of it is true, I think he's got a good case. So
Yes, but does he have any evidence?
that's my problem. Like when I was reading about the Dolphins owner offering him $100 million, I was like, I don't know how he's gonna prove that unless it's down in like text or email, or which I highly doubt. The owner of a franchise is gonna send an email or a text being like, I will offer you $100,000 to lose. I mean, because that's waiting for those to get leaked, especially as we found out about the John Gruden stuff. But at the same time, if John Gruden was willing to put that kind of stuff in an email, I mean, why wouldn't this owner want to offer $100,000?
But you think if it wasn't if it was a text or an email, he would have said it, showed it with everything while he was saying that.
Yeah, that's true. He would have. So you got a good point there. But so going back to the Giants hiring of Brian Dable, I think it's a good hiring, but I also think the quarterback, if they draft one this year, I think they go Malik Willis out of Liberty. And the reason I say that is because Malik Willis is a lot like Josh Allen. He's very raw coming out of college, coming from a smaller school, but he just has unlimited talent. And I think Malik Willis, with his legs, is kind of like Josh Allen. I think he just fits the offense. But I do think after this hiring, I think this closes the door for Daniel Jones. I do think they'll keep Daniel Jones. They'll draft a guy, and it'll just be open competition for wins. So we'll see what happens. But before we move on to other NFL head coaching, can we just let's give a little clap for the return of Jeff Fisher and the USFL for the Michigan Panthers. He is back, and I think it's only a 10-game season, but those Michigan Panthers are going to have the best 5-5 season you've ever seen.
That is so true.
So good for Jeff Fisher. I'm glad to see him back. And I officially, after I heard the hiring, I declared myself a Michigan Panthers fan. So I'm gonna put myself through that misery of watching them go 5-5, but
Every year.
It's gonna be a hell of a ride. So, but next head coaching hire was today, or no, yesterday, or Sunday, the 30th, or I don't know. Josh McDaniels was hired as the Raiders head coach.
Good for
Again,
him.
yeah, good for him. He's finally leaving New England for the second time ever, because he did leave when he got hired for the Jets. But all I can do is thank Josh McDaniels for giving me Tebow time in Denver. And Josh McDaniels, if you're listening to this, please sign Tim Tebow to be a tight end.
Oh my! It's
I got
over,
to get
Kyle.
another jersey.
It's over. It's over. Tebow
But
time is no more.
I think the other hiring there was the Bears hired the defensive coordinator for the Colts.
All right, so let me talk about this. This guy was a defensive coordinator at Mizzou for like 12 years. I love this signing. I love this signing because the Bears have always been known for being defense, always. So what better than a defensive guy to be the head coach?
Yeah, I think it's a good hiring. The Colts had a top team defense, and it seems like he's very likable. I think it's a good hire. My only thing is, just hoping they got the right guy as offensive coordinator to help Justin Fields. You got to have a guy that can come in and develop Justin Fields. So we'll see. I think I said earlier the QB coach for the Packers, I believe, is the one that got hired as the OC for the Bears. So we'll see. Hopefully, he can develop Justin Fields. But the last thing before unless you got anything else to talk about,
I do not.
Jim Harbaugh, so John Harbaugh's brother, is interviewing tomorrow, I believe, on Wednesday, for the Vikings head coaching job. So he met with the Vikings this past Sunday just to gauge interest. And now he's interviewing on the day of the second National Signing Day for the college football. So I think that's very interesting that he's doing it on the day of. But like I think we've talked about before, Jim Harbaugh has been upfront with recruits and said, when the recruits signed in the first signing day about a month ago or whatever, he did tell them, he was like, he is gonna gauge an NFL head coaching opportunities and just see if any teams are interested or what places he'd go. But he is interviewing for the Vikings, so we should see what happens. I don't know how he would do in Minnesota, but he did win games with Alex Smith and eventually Colin Kaepernick, and they kind of have the same skill set. Kirk Cousins is kind of like Alex Smith. Kellen Mond, which is the backup for the Vikings, is kind of like a scrambler like Kaepernick. Not as good as a runner as Colin Kaepernick, but that's something to keep an eye on. It could be interesting if he does go there, what the Vikings end up doing. So we shall see if he ends up going to the NFL. So we may have some more news in a week or two when we talk about the Super Bowl, or if we decide to record before then. I don't know if we will really have anything to talk about
We will
unless we
record
talk about
before
the
the
Pro
Super Bowl.
Bowl. What'd you say?
We will record before the Super Bowl. I mean, no one really cares about the Pro Bowl, though.
Yeah, so we will be back. Oh, so let's get another prediction. So I know I said that was it, but where do you think Jimmy G goes?
Jimmy G.
So he's not a free agent. So the 49ers either have to release him or trade him.
He stays with the 49ers.
So you think
Jimmy G will stay with the 49ers. You got him to the conference championship. He'll stay for another year.
I could see that happening. We'll see what happens. The most interesting part was, as all the players were coming through the tunnel, the GM for the 49ers, he shook most of the guys' hands. But when it came down to Jimmy G, he just gave him a hug. So we should see. But Jimmy G did come out and say that wherever he does go, whoever trades for him or whatever. He just wants to go somewhere that wants to win. So,
Yeah.
but that is all we have for today. Do you have any last thoughts before we wrap
I
it
do
up?
not. All I'm saying is if the Rams win the Super Bowl, that's the St. Louis Rams, baby.
St. Louis Rams, yeah. That is very true, man.
So Kyle,
We
you have a wonderful night, my friend. And guys, you guys have a wonderful night.
Yep. See ya.